But it's
Farah.
difficult to say, so I introduce myself as Farah here.
Farah.
Which actually means
Farah.
mouse in Arabic, but we ignore that. Hi, Nicole. How are
Hi,
you?
Farah. I'm good. How are you?
Great. Welcome to Surreal. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you. And it's an honor that you're inviting me
You
here.
know, you're my first video. I started Surreal in London, but I started introducing the video format like recently, and you're my first video format here in London, which is it's very special to me.
Oh, it's also special to me then.
Yeah. Guys, Nicole is like probably one of the coolest people I've met. If someone shows you that everything could happen, it's probably Nicole. I remember so well, I met Nicole for 30 minutes because she was late for an appointment. We're having lunch the first time at Nina.
Oh, no. I'm always running late,
Yeah.
guys. That's such a
She's like trying to
personality trait.
juggle like 25 things at once. But yeah, she's genuinely one of the coolest people I know. So, Nicole, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
First of all, thank you again for inviting me. And I want to say that you're one of the coolest people that I know.
you.
So everything is
so
mutual. I feel the same about you. So I'm Nicole. I'm 24 years old and I'm originally from Cyprus. I'm Greek Cypriot and I moved here almost 7 years ago to study in London. And then I followed the traditional route of finance. So I joined the banking and finance industry. And today I'm I'm also founder of a fashion discovery platform called I Spy.
Which is, by the way, I'm not just saying this, it's actually such a cool and fun app to be on, because if you're like interested in trends, interested in fashion, I think it's like a really cool thing.
For anyone really who cares about what they buy and how they dress.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
as simple as that. And yeah, it's basically a fashion discovery platform that helps people turn outfit inspiration that they see online into products that they can actually find, save, and buy.
Where did the idea of I Spy come from? Like, where did you be like, okay, I need this in my shopping patterns?
So it started out of my personal frustration as someone who cares about how she presents herself, how she looks, how she dresses. And I think this became even more important to me when I moved here and I got inspired by people dressing so nicely everywhere. And I just realized that online shopping and finding clothes that I want to buy was taking up so much time, was such a big part of my life at the end of the day. I remember like devote Sunday night tonight, I'm gonna online shop. I need to find these outfits. Like I ran out of night out outfits. I need gym sets, you know?
Yeah.
And I found myself scrolling for hours on my phone, jumping from one tab to another, and all the time reverse image search photos that I saw online of outfits that I thought were cool, trying to find the pieces behind them. And I would just waste so much time endlessly scrolling online and ending up not buying anything because I was so overwhelmed with all these options. So I was like, there must be something, there must be a way to turn that inspiration into actionable shopping quickly and seamlessly. And I started thinking about this last year where it was also like, I mean, now is the peak of AI, but it was also when I started exploring AI and I was like, there must be something. And also like AI must be able to fix.
Yes.
So I started looking online, searching what there is out there. I didn't find a platform that would solve the end-to-end online shopping journey. So I was like, okay, might as well explore this a bit more. And that's how I ended up here. So this started out of my own personal frustration. Yeah.
I have the same frustration, especially shopping. But do you feel like you're more of a in-person shopping or an online person shopping?
I think more online because I like to assess all my options.
I definitely agree with that, by the way. I think it's just so much easier. Like before coming here, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna order things. And then when I go to the store, I'm just so overwhelmed.
Exactly. Yeah. I think if you find what you want to buy online, you can still go in store and try it on. And that's what I do most of the times. But I think when it comes to finding pieces out of outfits that you see on social media all day long, you know, nowadays you open your phone and you're flooded with outfit inspiration. I saw your story this morning. I was like, where's that top from? I did not take a screenshot of it to upload it onto iSpy because I was going to see you, but it's the same concept all the time. You see so many outfits online and you wonder, where are these from? But when it comes to finding the pieces behind it, everything breaks. And that's what I Spy solves. It bridges the gap between inspiration to purchase.
Do you think like there's a specific trend that's like kind of overhyped right now?
Overhyped. I mean, now the current trend is Caroline Bessette 90s minimalism,
Yeah.
which I like. It's not overhyped. To be honest, I think trends come and go, you know? If they're overhyped, they're not sustainable. They're not going to stay for too long.
Do you feel the need to like create specific boards for trends on I Spy?
Yeah, I do.
How stressful is that? Because like trends, in my opinion, I think trends change like this.
They do, but it's also the content that we need for users to stay up to date, to follow I Spy. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a consumer app and you have to adjust to what consumers want. It's all about adjusting to the behavior. So if there's a trend, it makes your life easier because you're just going to post about this trend. There's no thinking of what you should be posting. And that's how it works. But if you were to ask me if there's back to your question, I can tell you one very specific one, the Kuschen scarves.
Yeah.
I see them everywhere, all over London. Everyone's wearing them, and I'm not a fan of them anymore just because
I think they're overdone.
They're overdone, yeah.
That's so true. You said you worked in finance prior to becoming a founder to I Spy. How is that like?
Well, I think that since day one, it never felt like I really fit here, but I never saw it that way. I think everything in life is an experience, and I'm also so grateful that I managed to find a job back in 2021 when I was applying for jobs. It's a big corporation. Working in the corporate is, you know,
it's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. And but I think at the end of the day, for me, it's all about perspective, and I saw it as an opportunity to learn and grow. And to be honest, that's what I wanted to do initially. Like I wanted to follow this route of finance, go up in positions.
You know, the finance world is very like, it's tough. I can't say it's not. Like everyone knows it's the finance stereotype. It's like you're working all the time. Do you think your experience with finance like taught you some sort of discipline?
I think, first of all, this on finance, yeah, it's tough. I think also it depends where you work, and I was lucky to not work in a job where it was crazy hours. So I did have work-life balance, even though I did have exams, and that didn't really balance things. But I think that in any business or corporation that you go into, it does teach you discipline, because at the end of the day, you have to work for someone, you have to execute tasks, you have to meet deadlines, you have to manage your priorities, and also working with people, which is hard. But I think for me, at least, this is the best learning experience from working in a big corporation. It's working with people and learning how to cooperate and to be collaborative.
See, I think that's actually crazy you say that, because we communicate with people since like at a very young age. But then to this day, I find it the toughest thing to do is actually like communicate clear thoughts sometimes. So many things get lost into communication.
You're right. And I feel like with AI nowadays, it's even harder to learn how to articulate your thoughts. Like I'm struggling here because you have ChatGPT or whatever, Claude, and it instantly gives you a response in seconds. You don't even have to think anymore nowadays, which is also scary. So I'm trying to also go back into the traditional of reading books, because communication is so important. And I realized that even if you don't know something, if you can communicate that and articulate your thoughts in an intellectual way, no one will realize that you don't know what you're saying.
Nicole, so should we take everything you say seriously?
Maybe.
No, but I 100% agree with that. I feel like there's so much brain damage right now with like AI and all this like innovation and technology, especially with attention span. Like me the other day, I was having conversation over dinner, and I swear to God, midway through the conversation, I just couldn't pay attention anymore.
Yeah.
Which is actually crazy.
It's crazy. And I think that many people now self-diagnose themselves with ADHD, but it's not ADHD.
It's just the attention span.
Yeah. And it's the scrolling all day long, which is, it's awful, but it's all about you. Like if you discipline yourself, if you learn how to put limits, we can't blame external factors all the time. It's at the end of the day, it comes to individuals. And if you can control your screen time, I'm not saying that I can, I'm trying to, but if you can, I'm not going to blame AI or technology. You know?
It all goes back to the person.
Exactly.
How does your app tackle this issue and make sure it gets like the consumer's attention, you know?
The most basic thing is that it solves a problem. Say the consumer faces a problem and iSpy solves that, which is to turn something that they see online into something that they can actually find and buy. But on that, we also made sure that the homepage keeps the user busy so that when the search is in process, the user can go into the homepage and can browse and explore.
That's my favorite part, by the way.
Thank you.
I loved it. I loved the Pinterest girl one and like I think it was the underrated brands one. That was like my favorite. But what do you think differentiates your like app from all the other apps on the market?
So the thing is that most of the apps and the platforms are designed for a single session, a single search, a single moment, whereas iSpy is designed for an end-to-end experience. From the moment you see something online that you want to find, to actually finding it, to saving it, to organizing it, and to returning to it to buy when you feel like it. So we try to, capture the end-to-end process, and it's also built for decision making over time, because you save something and when you want to go back and buy it, you can go back and the link doesn't get lost.
You know, you say that it's made for decision making over time, but then again, anyone that can listen to the concept would probably say like, yes, this feels fast fashion. How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't think it necessarily feels fast fashion, but we still show products that are fast fashion products, because at the end of the day, it's a consumer app and we need to show what consumers want. And if consumers shop more fast fashion than non-fast fashion, we're adjusting to that. However, we are, in a way, we're promoting sustainable and intentional shopping, because when you save everything that you want to buy in one visual place and you can see all your options, you don't make impulsive purchases. You are able, because you have everything organized in one place, to make sustainable and intentional decisions when it comes to purchasing and making investments.
Would you consider yourself a shopaholic?
I that's a hard question. If I had all the money in the world, I would buy all the time. But I try to control myself. Like, I try to be mindful, but there's times when I feel like I would buy things on the spot just because I feel like I would lose the link and my chance would go, which is not the right thing. Like, it's not the right way to approach it. Back to why I built iSpy.
Yeah. Obviously, this app, it's not an overnight story, you know. You don't build an entire app like this overnight. You don't build anything overnight. I'm a firm believer of that. Have you ever faced like any sort of imposter syndrome when like launching this app, especially considering the fact that your background is in finance?
Yeah, so obviously, imposter syndrome is something that I constantly face all the time. And I don't know if it's imposter syndrome or if I'm just not doing enough. And obviously, there's days where I'm like, am I even qualified to do this? But it's a work in progress. I think that when I connected with other founders, I realized that everyone starts from scratch. Most people don't know, you can't know everything. You can't know the tech, the marketing, the DevOps, the engineering, the strategy, the partnership side all at once. It's all a learning curve. And every day I'm figuring new things out. I'm learning new things. And at the end of the day, the only thing that's stopping me is
Your mind.
my mind and my self-talk. So I try to train that first. And then if I don't know something, if I fail, I know that I just need to learn more and figure things out.
So far, what has been the biggest challenge you faced?
The biggest challenge has definitely been the development side of it. It's still not an app yet, but we're building everything to be able to launch the app. It's a web app for now, which, by the way, is the route I would recommend everyone starting a startup, because you first have to validate behavior. You have to make sure that there is repeat usage and engagement on your proof of concept, on your MVP, which is the minimum viable product that you can give out to the market. And once you understand what users like, what they don't like, then you invest in building the app. So that's my first advice, and also what other people told me. But I think that, yeah, back to your point, the toughest part is the development, because I don't understand how the engineering works. I don't understand that tech side of things. And finding the right people to build things is the biggest challenge here when you don't know the subject well.
Would you have ever considered learning about like coding and all that programming stuff?
I didn't consider it because even when I tried to understand it, it's so hard for me to understand. So I've just accepted, even though I don't want to say that I've accepted that I'm not good at that, because you can always learn, but I don't want to learn that, even though I have to understand the basics, but I'd rather invest my time in the other parts of bringing a product to the market.
Yeah. So I think the industry you're in is more or less known as fashion tech, if I'm not wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct. Yes.
What would you say about the industry? What's something that surprised you?
Well, I think one thing that I'm realizing now, because I started this last year, the thinking, and then I brought it to life. But since last year to today, there's so much development in this industry, in this market, and I realized that it's largely under monetized. So there's massive opportunity. I think that they create and they develop these like incredible technologies when it comes to fashion tech, but some don't even really solve what users are facing. They don't solve real problems.
Yeah.
For example, there's amazing technologies like the virtual try-on. People can't survive without virtual try-on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not really targeting the basic problems that people are facing in fashion tech, which is around sustainability. It's around shopping. It's about making decisions, about discovering and making shopping feel easier.
Yeah. Would you say it's a male-dominated industry?
I think the startup industry and the ecosystem and the tech ecosystem for sure, it's definitely a male dominating industry. But I don't think in my personal experience so far, which is also, by the way, very short, right? I'm an embryo in this
Yeah,
ecosystem.
industry.
Yeah, I haven't experienced anything like me being mistreated or not having the same opportunities as a male, I would
Yeah.
say. But maybe I was like in that sense, maybe I'm gonna experience it later. But I think I definitely believe that men and women should have equal opportunities. But I think there's some things that women are better at and some things that men are better at.
I just think like things like your app, I think because like obviously this is a stereotype and my main point of my podcast is not to fuel stereotypes, but I just have to say that I just think especially when it comes to fashion and shopping, it's more like towards interest, like women's interest, you know? So I just think like for me, at least I think so. It would make sense for the app to be produced by a female because she has gone through the same problem, you know?
Exactly. And I think the best apps and businesses are done by founders who struggled themselves with that problem. Because if you're building something, if you're building a solution for someone and you don't understand what the problem is, then you won't be able to tackle the
Yeah.
solution. So I'm obviously the one that faced this struggle, this problem, and then I observed the market, I observed the people, and it seems like women mostly, I would say aged between 20 to 40, face this issue. Especially because we've become visual shoppers. We discover outfits on social media by creators.
I feel like as well, people within this age range, like I know the like common conception is like people develop their personality during teenage years, but I'm a firm believer that you're still developing your personality within these years, and you still want to experiment with your style, with your trends, and so on. You know?
Yeah, I feel like at any age, that's the thing. That's why so many women have midlife crisis, because they realize at 50 that they want to, re-identify themselves. And that's good. It's all good.
I don't know. Like I was listening to a podcast on my way here, and it was actually Call Her Daddy with Anita, and she was like, you know, like I'm just inspired by this like animation character. I guess it's Brazilian. I don't have much context on that. But she was like, it's this character that wakes up every day and decides how they want to be. And like one day they're intellectual, the other day they're sexy, the other day they're like, living different lives. And I just thought, like, why can't we be that way, you know?
Yeah, and I definitely think that we shouldn't be defined or just feel like we have one identity. Oh, I did law, I have to be a lawyer. Oh, I'm a doctor, I need to be. No, you can be anything, especially nowadays. And I think that at least where I come from and where I live now, there is that freedom. I hope that more countries and cultures gain that freedom, because at the end of the day, the point in life is to be happy.
Yeah.
By being part-time doctor, part-time influencer, part-time anything, do it all. Like, why not? Life is short. You shouldn't be defined, especially by what you chose to do when you were 18 and you were deciding to go and study law or medicine or whatever.
I totally agree with you. Going back to like developing your app, obviously it's hectic. It's a lot. Did you ever like fall into like mental burnout or something similar?
Yeah, many times. Maybe not burnout as such, but more like breakdowns. Yeah, because if you don't know everything, and this is like the case with most founders, like you can't have it all figured out. Every day you learn, every day you have to, you have to be. I saw this TikTok the other day. I'm having a meeting with my marketeer, my partnerships manager, my ops, my tech, and it's like all her. So you obviously have to wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to figure things out from nothing. So obviously there's times where I'm like, why am I even doing this? Or like, am I even like competent or capable of doing it? But again, it's just my brain, and I try to train my brain to snap out of it whenever I have that negative self-talk. I'm like, it's fine, life's short, whatever. Even if you fail, whatever. What's the worst thing that can happen? What, die? Okay. I'm not gonna die from this. And really that perspective helps me ground myself and get back to it. And I'm like, okay, this is my goal. I'm just gonna stick to it. Consistency.
What's the biggest like source of encouragement that kept you going?
Honestly, the people online. Because when you go into
People online are nicer than people in person.
That's true. That's true. And yeah, maybe. But I mean, one is my mom, obviously, because she supports me. She inspires me throughout this whole thing. And obviously, I wouldn't have made it happen if I didn't have the goal from my mom. But I think people online, because there's so many people who do something similar, and it's easier to access those people because of social media. And when you realize that you're not alone, like there's a massive community on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, everywhere, of founders, of people who are building something from scratch, from not knowing anything, or changing their lives. So
We already talked about how difficult it is to get people's attention nowadays. How do you make sure I Spy stays trendy? Like, I know it's an app that's meant to sustain shopping habits, but how do you like make sure, people keep using it?
yeah, again, it's back on, because it's a consumer app, it's back on what consumers like and what they don't like. It's all about uh, making sure we're staying up to date with the behavior of people. So if now everyone decides to go back in store and only pursue shopping in physical stores, I would have to redesign the entire thing, which is not the case, thank God. But yeah, I think it's all about understanding your consumer, understanding your customer, and then making those refinements to adapt to the behavior of people. But also, I think I'm more of an aura person. I feel like there's aura to the brand, to what
I'm a firm believer in energy. Like, I feel like a person's energy says so much about them. So yeah, totally see where you're coming from.
Yeah, and I feel like everyone who I want to bring on it and be part of it, I'm all about energy. Like, even if it's the most, I didn't have that opportunity yet. Even if like the most intelligent, experienced person comes to me and is like, I'll work for you for free. If I don't like his energy, I'd be like, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, I totally see where
I
you're.
only want to be around good people with good energy. And also, I feel like my energy, because I'm a good person, attracts good people. So I'm honestly grateful because everyone who's been part of this so far and who's helped me and supported me is only people with good energy. And I want to keep
Yeah.
keep it that way.
What's one advice you'd give someone that wants to go into a similar path of like creating like, an app, maybe in fashion tech, maybe in another field?
I think that if you feel like you should be doing something else and where you're at doesn't feel right, you should definitely take the risk because everything you want lies on the other side of fear. So I think
Yes.
if you question yourself, what's stopping me from doing this? If it's fear and excitement, if it's fear, but you also feel excited about it at the same time, you should definitely pursue it.
I think a lot of people are just, there's the fear of failure and the fear of public embarrassment. But I read the other day, embarrassment is like, actually, I didn't read it. I saw it on TikTok. I have to be honest. Embarrassment is basically the feeling of of not doing something ever for the first time,
Exactly. And even like the most basic thing of starting an Instagram page, I was so embarrassed in the beginning and I kept delaying it. And even now, like my friend who's more like a mentor, she was like, you have to start posting on LinkedIn. I'm like, but what if I'm like thinking of all these people, which is so bad because at the end of the day, they're not going to define your life path or happiness.
That's so true. But I can so relate on the Instagram thing just because it took me 2 years to make like an Instagram for my podcast, which is actually crazy if you think of it. Like
It is crazy.
but it's something scary about, I don't know, TikTok was a bit more easier for me to access, but Instagram, I don't know.
Yeah, because Instagram is older, right? And you've known all these people and it's like your relatives as well, like older people, and you start thinking and overthinking. But honestly, like who cares about what people are gonna say? And at the end of the day, those who talk behind your back are the miserable ones.
They're probably the ones missing out on the opportunity. Like, oh God, I wish I did this.
Exactly. So yeah, now I try to not think about it.
Yeah.
As much as I can. Everyone says this, by the way. And again, I'm an amateur in this industry now. I've just started. But I think when people say just start, it couldn't be more right than that. Just start. You don't have to have the perfect plan. You don't have to have the perfect strategy because, by the way, all of that changes. Like what you initially think is the idea is going to change 100 times and you're going to pivot, and you have to be open to that. You can't be absolute, especially when you're entering this world of startups and in this changing world of AI where everything constantly changes and you have to constantly adapt to that. So I think when people say just start, start yesterday. Like if you're thinking of doing something, start literally yesterday. Start with ChatGPT, asking questions, figuring things out, write a plan, make a plan. Nothing needs to be perfect. You just have to go.
You'll just figure it out as you go.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Nicole, for your time.
Thank you so much.
I really appreciated you having me here.
Thank you for inviting me, and it was a lovely conversation. We can go on without the camera.
But yeah, thank you and everyone for listening. This is Surreal with Farah. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.